New signings, new hope? We'll talk about it on another episode of Final Whistle ATX. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Final Whistle ATX. I'm Nick Bannin, along with Harley and Wyatt here at BD Riley's.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, it's good to be back, finally.
New episode, new host.
Missed you guys. It's been like 12 months since we've all seen each other.
I know, we've been MIA, but we're back now, and it's an exciting episode.
Yeah, we've got so much to talk about this episode, but we're going to start off with the story everyone's talking about, and that is the new signing. The green smoke has been lit, and it's all everyone in Austin FC culture is talking about. We've got Sebastian Driussi, which everyone's hoping will be our shining light and goal-scoring king. What do we think?
This is a guy who is 25 years old, so should be coming into his prime, has just been playing in Russia for Zenit St. Petersburg, which is a pretty good team in Europe, pretty well-respected team in Europe. He's played in the Champions League, brings some really valuable experience, now comes over to the US, and not because he failed in Europe, but from what I'm reading, it sounds like he wants to be closer to home in Argentina.
It must be a big culture shock, Argentina to Russia.
Yeah,
I don't know if there's a bigger culture shock than that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But I wanted to finish off by saying that when he moved over to Russia a few years ago, they paid 15 million euros to sign him, which is like $18 million. There are not many players in MLS that would go for $18 million now. So this is a player who has a lot of quality, and we should be really excited. I am. I know that you are as well.
He's going to answer the questions and fill in the gaps that Austin FC
I think that it's no secret that after we had probably one of the sauciest goals in Q2 history against us, within that same week, we finalized a signing for a new striker. I don't think that's a coincidence. He's a new green hope, and he's won some gold in Russia. So this is a guy coming here. He's got experience. And according to the transfer market app, he's worth about $8 to $9 million right now. So I don't know exactly how much we paid for him, but this changes everything for Austin FC this year. I mean, we were struggling to score goals, and I think our ceiling has been raised if he can come in and prove to be exactly what we think he is.
And we're still waiting for GT to get here.
Yeah, I mean, two new signings coming in is just really exciting. And Driussi especially, like, he should be the best player in the team, I think, for the level that he's played at in the past, for the amount of money that he's gone for in the past, for his age. He should come in and be the star player. I think there's no doubt that he's going to be one of the designated players on the roster. Yeah. This is a really big moment for a team that we know has struggled to score goals. So
I think he's going to fit in perfectly with some of his South American friends who are already on this team. But Harley, I wanted to ask you, who do you think, now that this guy, it's pretty obvious, I think, that he's coming here. The rumors are that Austin FC signed his release clause for Zenit. So I wanted to ask you, which players are gaining the most from this signing? Who has the most to gain from this kind of a signing with another new attacker?
Yeah,
aside from the fans, obviously.
The fans is number one, obviously. But I love that question. And for me, it's actually Cecilio Dominguez, because
it's got to be.
He's been hot and cold through the first 2 or 3 months of the season. I think we all know that. When he's good, he's very, very good. Other times, it's very frustrating. And he's meant to be the star player until now. Driussi takes some of that burden off his shoulders. I'm not sure exactly where Driussi will play. I don't think that he's this number 9 centre forward that we've been crying out for. The hope is that GT is going to be that guy, even though he's very young and raw and inexperienced. So I think that we'll end up seeing Dominguez kicked back out onto the wing, where he's clearly a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
And Driussi comes in and takes some of that pressure off his shoulders.
Now, what do you guys, do you think as soon as he's had a few training sessions under his belt, he plays a full game? Do you think they slowly work him in and we don't really see the best of him until a month in?
It's hard to say because we signed GT like 17 years ago and we still haven't even seen him in Austin yet.
Where is Musa? He was merely a child when we signed him.
But I do think that he's going to come in and be a difference maker right away. This is a complete team aside from our finishing. We've talked about that in the past. Our defense is not the best, but we're definitely a talented defense. We have a talented midfield, and we're really good at holding possession. Our finishing is absolutely atrocious. We had 73% possession against Seattle Our passing was atrocious even with that percentage. All 6 shots on goal in the first half, none of them were on target. I think Driussi, did I pronounce that right?
Yeah.
Driussi, I'm going to get used to that. Driussi, I think, is going to solve a lot of those problems, and I think he's going to do it fast.
And Wyatt, do you have Musa Gite on Find My iPhone or Find My Friends on iPhone? Because
I'm glad you bring up Gite though, because I think
where is he?
I think he's going to gain the most out of this signing because the pressure is now a little bit off of him and more on Driussi.
He's not the new guy anymore.
I think that he's
Right?
not going to come in and be expected to score all the goals. I think Driussi is only going to help Gite. He's going to take some pressure off of him as a new signing.
At this point, I'm wondering if Musa Gite doesn't actually exist, and he is this
Have we been catfished?
He's this goal-scoring entity, and Austin FC has just been catfished.
I love the idea of Gite, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's who we signed.
We need to
The
get the
idea
catfish
of-
guys on the case.
So you brought it up, the Seattle game, a lot of possession, and we lost. We, of course, had the friendly against Tigres. Not that we can put a lot of stock in the score of that one, but that was a loss as well. We should talk about those games and also talk about what players we're starting to see improving now that we've seen the last few games, and what players we're sort of seeing their stock going down a bit.
Yeah, a little stock up, stock down. You want to start?
Yeah. This is the best segment we've had, I think, I guess I could call it all season one. Stock up for me, this, Harley and I were talking, this is a little bit harder to come up with because obviously we're on a little bit of a losing streak. But I think it's got to be Fagundes because I think throughout the last month, especially the games that we missed, I think he's proven to be our, the heart and soul of the team, to take your words, Harley. I think he's the heart and soul of the team, and he's clearly our best attacker and our most consistent attacker to this point. He scored our first goal, and I think he's going to go down in folklore history in Austin FC for that reason. Fagundes, to me, his stock has continued to rise as the season's gone on, especially the last few months.
So stock up, who's your stock up?
My stock up is a player that we haven't seen for these 2 defeats. It's Danny Pereira. Anybody who's seen this show before probably knows that I basically have a Danny Pereira tattoo on my chest at this point.
You've got a pillow at home with his face on
Oh,
it.
come on. Don't do me like that. That's too much. I think Danny Pereira is a really, really good player. And ever since he got injured in the game against LA, I want to say, Austin FC has not looked the same. That's not a coincidence. He's one of our best midfielders. I don't care that he's a rookie. I don't care that he's just turned 21 the last couple of weeks. This guy is very, very hard to replace when he's not on the field. And for me, that's why in his absence, his stock is going through the roof right now.
You must be pretty good if your stock goes up and you're not even playing.
Yeah. His stock is in the clouds right now because we need him so bad.
I think that he does things to our midfield that our other guys can't do. I mean, Alex Ring is fantastic, but he's not a guy who's going to press the ball forward the way that Pereira would. So I think he does things that our midfield just misses without him, to be honest. But for me, the stock down, this was also hard because it feels like there's a few candidates for this one. But for me, and it hurts me to say this, I think it's got to be Hector Jimenez because I was really high on him.
Your former boy.
My former boy, and I hope he comes back to glory. But he's really been sloppy these last few games. His passing has been off. His defense hasn't been as great. And it's not that he's been horrible. I think the whole team has dropped a little bit. But I was really impressed with him, and I'm sad to see him come back down to earth a little bit.
I think the last time that we talked, you were pumping up Jimenez so much, and he did look really, really good when he first came into the team when Lima got hurt, and you were saying, forget Nick Lima, he never existed, it's all about Jimenez now.
Jimenez, his style is perfect for a right back for Josh Wolf's system, but he just
Things
been
have
a little
changed
sloppy.
a little
He's
bit.
been a little sloppy.
Yeah.
And your stock down, Harley?
This might not win me any friends, but you need more when you're not playing particularly well as a team. You need more from your star players. Cecilio Dominguez is not giving me enough right now. I get that he's probably playing out of position down the middle, and like I said earlier, he probably wants to play out on the left, running at defenders. But he's not giving me enough, and I do not want to see the guy who makes the most money on the team, the designated player, basically trying to win a penalty as his main threat. And I feel like the referees in MLS probably know by now. I don't know if they've got together and said, hey, that number 10 for Austin, just don't give him a penalty. I mean, he's a pretty good actor because every time he goes down, it looks like the referee has killed his whole family. But I need to see a little bit more from him. I think Driussi coming in, if that unlocks Dominguez, that's like 2 new signings instead of 1.
I have to ask this, and it pains me to say it. Have we seen the best goal at Q2 in the Seattle game, and unfortunately against us. Was that the best goal of the season so far?
I think that could be the best goal of the season in the MLS right now. I don't know.
Of course, that was an absolute... If you take out the fact that that was Austin FC, that was a treat of a goal. I mean, it's 40 yards out. Rui Diaz, it's an absolute moment of inspiration. He barely looks. And if he hits it any harder, it's flying somewhere into the stand. And if he hits it any lighter, Brad Stuver's able to get it. It's like throwing a paper plane through a mailbox. It just like flies into this tiny gap. And Q2 was silenced, and rightly so. It was an incredible goal. And that's what Austin FC is missing. If Driussi can score any goals on the half volley from 40 yards out, then I'd say we've done pretty well with that signing.
The fact that it was against Brad Stuver, who's one of the MLS's best keepers this season, and that he just came on. He just came on the pitch not long before he scored that goal. So I think, and I said at the beginning of the show, I don't think it's a coincidence that we've really attacked an attacker. I don't know why I said it like that, but we've really gone after attacker immediately after we gave up one of the best goals of the season in MLS.
We turn always after a loss to the next game. Colorado this Saturday. What are you expecting from Austin FC, Wyatt? It seems like it could be a winnable game.
You know, I'm expecting a lot of what we've seen all season. It's getting to a point where you can't keep expecting different results that we haven't seen yet. I'm excited about Driussi being here. I pronounced that wrong again, but I'll get it right before the end of the season. I'm excited about Gite if we ever see him this year. But until those guys come, we're the same team that we've been. So I think we're going to see a game where we have possession, especially with Colorado missing Kellen Acosta, who's their defensive mid. He's with the U.S. right now in the Gold Cup. But I expect to see 60% possession. I expect us to mess it up, near their goal, and I expect probably to give up a goal and lose 1-0. I don't want to say it, but we can't keep predicting different results when we're seeing the same results over and over and over again.
Well, you got to remember when we played Colorado in Colorado, one of our earlier games, that was one of the brightest games we had.
That's what I was going to say. We went to Denver and blew their doors off in the second half. It was one of the high points of the season so far, and Colorado's a good team. So I'm expecting a close game. I think that Colorado will not underestimate Austin FC. I think they know the threat that Austin poses. Maybe not in the final third, like you were saying. But I think this is going to be a really close game. I think it's going to be a really good game. I think maybe a draw. I do think that we score in this game. Maybe the two new signings light a fire under the attacking players, because suddenly we're seeing players like John Gallagher, who's been one of the stars of the season. Maybe his starting 11 spot is at risk now. So maybe we see somebody like him turn it up another level with the new signings coming.
We had said that almost our season starts now when we started having home games. And then we had a series of injuries and setbacks and many more losses. Does our season really start once these two new signings start? Is that where we should really be judging Austin FC on?
I would say so, because I think to this point we know who we are. But I think once we get those guys, let's say we get them in mid-August after Colorado, after Houston, maybe we get them before our next home game against Dallas, we're a different team at that point. I think our ceiling is raised once we get players of that talent, of that caliber, on an existing team that's already got talent and already has an identity. And we've got a massive fan base and a massive home field advantage. So having those two players does change who we are as a team, and it does change our outlook for this season. In my opinion, I think that we could make the playoffs, because those are two, especially Driussi, god dang it, I'm going to get that. But especially with him, he's a talented player, and he's proven it in some really competitive leagues. So, yeah, I think our season starts when those guys get here.
I'm really optimistic. Gite, I've been pumping the brakes on Gite ever since we signed him, because he's a 21-year-old guy. He's been signed in the off-season in France, so he's been not been playing competitive soccer. He's not had a pre-season to get up to speed. I think it may take him a little while. And honestly, both of these guys in their early 20s, mid-20s, coming to a new country, playing in a new league, learning a new language. I don't know if Driussi speaks English. It's a lot to take on. So I think that we should be cautious, but I also think that the ceiling, like you said, is way high, and it's a really exciting time to be an Austin FC fan.
And in the meantime, we've got Colorado this Saturday. That game is on the CW Austin at 8 o'clock, so you can watch it on the CW Austin.
That's right.
And I'm going to be there. I can't wait.
All right, so make sure you come back next week. We'll have Harley's report from inside the stadium.
Wow.
And maybe his voice
Okay.
will have recovered by then.
See.
I hope my prediction's wrong. I want to say that. I hope that we don't lose 1-0, but
Well, you're bad at predictions, so
That's
I'm
true.
yeah,
That's a
I'm
good
pretty
point.
hopeful.
it's hard to predict with Austin. We win 4-0, we lose 4-0. It's hard to predict.
And remember, you can always watch our episodes on YouTube and on KXAN.com and a variety of other places from time to time as well. And we look forward to seeing you next week on another episode of Final Whistle ATX.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.